And I love Kurtwood Smith. He's been in all kinds of great stuff. And obviously, most people, as he mentions, know him from that 70s show. But I will always think of him as the bad guy in RoboCop.
I just watched RoboCop a couple weeks ago. So great.
He's Clarence Boddicker. Mm-hmm. He's the bad guy in RoboCop. And if you've ever watched the DVD commentary of RoboCop, it is unbelievable. Because the director was a guy named Paul Verhoeven. He's a Dutch director, and he was real hot in like the late 80s, early 90s. He did not Fatal Attraction, Basic Instinct. Paul Verhoeven did Starship Troopers. He did RoboCop. And they were talking to Kurtwood Smith. His line, great line from RoboCop, is when he comes in to this room to talk to another guy, and there's a bunch of hookers, and he just goes, "Bitches, leave." And these girls get up, and they leave. And because he said, Paul Verhoeven's Dutch and didn't realize that bitches was a pejorative term, didn't realize it was an insult, he thought that line, because he goes, it was an improv line. He goes, and he thought that was just what you called a collection of women. So he said, as he's walking us through the scene, he's going, okay, so then you come in, bitches leave. Bitches, you will go over there. He kept calling these female actresses bitches, and then bitches will go over there, and okay, bitches sit there.
That's amazing.
Oh, it's so good. But he'll always be Clarence Boddicker to me.
I love
because I didn't watch
movie.
that '70s show. I know he was on it. It's a really popular show.
He's great as Red Foreman.
He's great in everything.
But yeah, I the first time I watched that '70s show when it premiered, seeing him, I was like, "That's a RoboCop guy."
Yeah.
And everybody was like, "What?" And I was like, "That RoboCop, bad guy." Because I was watching it with my girlfriend at the time. She'd never seen RoboCop, and loved it.
Yeah, he's
that's
been in a ton of great stuff. He was in Broken Arrow, that John Woo movie where Christian Slater and John Travolta. Yeah, Broken Arrow.
Yeah, a missile or something.
On a train.
Mm-hmm.
Cavs lose, Guardians lose. Yeah, I think that's how it went.
Yeah.
Cavs lose big last night. Again,
that seems to be the theme, though, that they keep losing giant on the road like that.
Well, and it's not going to, the trouble.
It's against the team that had the very best record.
That's right.
In the NBA.
But, if you're struggling a little bit against the Magic, again, who are not a terrible team, but Celtics are really good. Anyway.
Yeah. They got to get it on track in this next game and try and steal one.
Yeah.
If they have any chance at this.
Yeah, because I'm going to have playoff tickets for you for Monday's game, and you don't want to go into that game with the Cavs being down by 3.
Yeah.
So, although, glass half full, if we send you Monday night, that might be the last time you see him this season.
2, not 3. 3?
Game 4 is going to be Monday.
Oh, because Game 3 is Saturday.
Right.
Game 3 Saturday, here in Cleveland, yep. So, Game 2 is tomorrow night, and then Games 3 and 4 Saturday and Monday. Here in Cleveland. 120-95 was the final last night in Boston. And the game tomorrow night is at 7 o'clock. Guardians lose to the Tigers. They're currently losing to the Tigers, and then they got hammered by them last night. So Detroit kind of finding their footing so far in this series. 11-7 was the loss last night. They're wrapping the series as we speak, 4-2 in the bottom of the fourth against Detroit, and then Cleveland will go to Chicago to play the White Sox. That'll be the first of 4 tomorrow night at 7:40. Of course, Stephen Kwan is out too. He's been really, really
he's got a
good for
quad
them.
strain, I think. He's out
for
a
something
week,
like
or
that.
like a month or something.
10-day IL is what they have him on. He had a little hammy problem, so he's out, and Guardians have to work around that. I got a lot of messages, emails, and such from people when we were talking. It was at the tail end of the show yesterday. We got a message on the app from somebody who was alluding to the bear versus man thing, where they asked, this guy on TikTok asked women, would you rather be in a forest with a bear or a man? And unsurprisingly, a lot of them said a bear. And I got a lot of messages about that, and I got a couple of messages from people who work in the legal profession. And listen, everybody was having a bit of fun with it, right? I think if you're a little close to a situation where women go, Mary said it, she's like, I don't know what the hell a guy's going to do.
Right.
I know a bear wants to murder me.
That's it.
Right? A bear
That's
wants
all
to
they want.
A bear wants to eat me. I don't know what's in.
They're either going to kill you or leave you alone.
Yeah.
Those are the only two options.
I don't know what's in a guy's brain. Alan, the domestic violence and murders of women far higher than you know. Since 1800, 180 people have been killed by bears. People, by the way, not just women.
All humans.
Humans, yeah. Over 4,500 women were killed by men in the U.S. in 1 year.
Yeah.
Over 400,000 sex assaults per year.
Well, they're around men a lot more.
They are, just the straight numbers, you're going to be around.
What did those 45,000 women say that made those men murder them?
Go watch that movie Grizzly Man. You ever see Grizzly Man?
Oh, yeah.
Where the last part of it is just the audio of him getting murdered by this bear that he thinks. It's not even murder, though, right? I mean,
it's protection. The
That's
bear
just their
thinks you're
instinct.
dangerous. Yeah.
that's why I'm always fascinated by people who have spent so much time with wild animals that they think. Obviously, animals can get more comfortable around humans, but this thing where, that's why the subreddit is called Leopards Ate My Face. I thought I was friends with this leopard until it ate my face. Or the lady who had her face pulled off by a monkey. Or the grizzly man who was spending all his time. I guess if that's what you want to devote your time to, you want to be out there in the wild, pretending that you can commune with the animals for the rest of your life. But he met a very grisly end, if you would. Grisly end.
Also,
From the grizzly.
the word yesterday, I said carnal. I meant primal.
Primal.
That was the
Some people
word
thought
where I
you
was
meant
like,
carnage. I'm like, no, she would have come up
No.
with carnage.
No, it was because
Primal.
I said a carnal instinct and I meant a primal instinct.
Gotcha.
Like the bear the only reason it would kill me would be for food. It's like, I'm hungry, I need to eat. That looks like something I can eat.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't think it would
human
just
men?
kill you for food. I think it would still be a primal reaction, but they would kill you just because they see you as a threat, too.
But I don't look like a threat.
To a bear?
Well, I
you
don't
might.
know what we look like to bears.
Who knows? But they're not going to psychologically torture you.
Yeah.
What else did people say? You said people from the legal department got a hold of you.
Well, that's what I mean. This person in particular was giving
Oh.
me some stats. They're like, we work with all kinds of sex assaults and rapes and domestic violence and, and obviously, and the data that they have on that is just from women who report it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no one should be surprised, I guess, that the preponderance of women answered, I'd rather be in the woods with a bear than a guy. It really is
Especially
crazy.
if you don't
It's
know
amazing
where
that
it
any of us
is.
ever get together, right? It's amazing that we've been able to perpetuate the species as long as we have.
If you don't know the location of said bear or person, too, that's even worse.
Yeah.
Like if you are released into the woods and like, there's a man in here somewhere. Oh, God, that just makes me feel like you can't get out of here and there's a random man in this woods somewhere. That's
You're
terrifying.
in a giant room with no lights, and there's a man in here somewhere.
Oh, my God, no.
Yeah, but under that circumstance, you'd be just as terrified if there was a bear in there, too.
But a bear is also easier to find.
Well, you
Bears
definitely
are
hear it.
huge.
Ah,
Yeah.
the guy would end up farting.
All you have to
You'd hear the
do-
guy fart.
Yeah, no, all you have to do to get a guy to appear is just say an opinion or just express anything like about sports, and then he'll, actually,
Right.
that's
He'll
wrong,
give away.
Mary.
You'll know his
Yeah.
20 immediately.
I'm by myself. I'm like, did you know you could go 6,000 miles without an oil change? You cannot do that.
Actually, it's only if you have full synthetic lubricant.
high performance,
Yeah.
high viscosity.
Yeah, there's all kinds of ways.
Full
to-
synthetic, you can go up to 10,000 miles.
Yeah, to get us to come out of the woodwork.
But I wouldn't want to. Well, I guess I would kind of want to know where you were, but I would want to hide.
Well, see, somebody like me, though, if I'm in that dark room with you, A, I'm not there to do you any harm, but B, you ain't going to draw me out with a comment on sports or cars.
Oh, no, someone left a quarter of a bagel over here.
Hey, that's mine. Hey,
Don't you touch that.
hey.
Don't come anywhere near with butter either.
Hey, hey, where are you?
That's not what I want.
Is that what I want? Hey, are you in here? Are you in this room?
Hey, hi.
Did
yeah.
you find my quarter bagel?
I did. I
Hey,
ate
where
it.
are you?
I ate it.
Stupid. Hey, I got money for you. It's $1,000, courtesy of the Buzzard bookie. So good luck.
This is your chance to bet with the Buzzard Bookie and win $1,000 now. Enter this nationwide keyword at WMMS.com. Money. That's money. Enter it now at WMMS.com.
Speaking of murder, it's a sad day for us Gen Xers as Steve Albini has died of a heart attack.
He'll love that. He loves Billy Joel.
He's a youngish man. He was 61 years old. He kind of, he hadn't really kept himself trim over the past few years. But Steve Albini, who was kind of the face of a lot of the greatest late 80s, early 90s albums. Underground rock records, grunge. He most famously produced In Utero for Nirvana after Butch Vig had produced their first two albums. He owned Electrical Audio Studios in Chicago. I had a couple of friends who had worked for him a long, long time ago. He started with as a musician, playing in bands like Big Black and Shellac. He did have a late 80s band called Rape Man. But, he was always trying to get into people's faces. And Steve Albini...
It's not called Rape Bear.
Right. Steve Albini's heart murdered him. But he engineered and produced albums for the Pixies and PJ Harvey and Nirvana. And a lot of... And he was... People either loved Steve Albini or they couldn't stand him because he was very, very much a purist. He was very opinionated on things that he didn't really need to make an opinion on, but whatever. And when he was doing In Utero with Nirvana, he very famously refused to take royalty money from them because that would be the standard agreement that you would have with someone who had produced your album. He took a flat fee to produce it. And it was the last record, obviously, that Kurt Cobain would do because In Utero came out in 93, Cobain dead in 94. But Steve Albini goes, pay me $100,000, or the label paid him, and I'll produce this album. He probably could have made about $1 million in royalties, but he thought taking royalties from bands was an insult to the artist, that he should have nothing to do with royalties from the band's sales. So Steve Albini is gone. He was a very, very well-known musical figure for Gen Xers. 61 years old, died suddenly of a heart attack. But he had worked on, Helmet Records, and I think he did the second Breeders album, and he just, all of these, Gen X touchstones that you might have in your record collection or your CD collection or something like that. Steve Albini's fingerprints are on a lot of them, and just for me personally, he was very integral to that grunge scene in Chicago because he went to Northwestern. He's from out west somewhere, but he went to college in Chicago and then started producing records for people and eventually bought his own studio and was doing albums out of there. So I saw that around noon today, and I was like, that's a real bummer. I was also reading something that said that 1994 was the last good year because it was the last year before the internet really kind of took over pop culture. It was the year of 9 Inch Nails dropping The Downward Spiral and Pulp Fiction. And remember the movie Above the Rim?
Yep.
That was in theaters in 94, and that's the one that had Regulate on the soundtrack. And so everybody was booming Warren G and Nate Dogg out of their cars. Mary would have been probably about 5 in 1994.
Yes.
Bill would have been 11 or 12. Yep. Yeah. I was 23. But it was a very, very formative time. 1994 was the last good year. It was an article in Wired magazine.
I mean, it was one of the best years for movies, too. Jurassic Park came out that year, I believe.
Yep.
That's my favorite
Clerks
movie.
came out. Ace
Clerks,
Ventura,
right.
Dumb and Dumber. Yeah.
Damn.
Mask came out. And,
all 3 of those movies came out in 1 year?
I believe so.
That's insane.
Yeah. 3 Jim Carrey movies, I think, in 1994. So it was, and obviously people my age now are getting increasingly nostalgic for that time. I like a lot of the music. I don't really go back and watch a lot of those movies, but the crux of this article this person was writing was that this was the last year before everything was kind of taken over by the internet, or everything revolved around the internet. Now, whether or not people can subscribe to that thought or not, who knows? The Crow came out in 1994. And is that reboot out? Has it come and gone?
No, I think it comes out in June.
Oh, okay. Cotton Eye Joe came out in 1994.
Oh, the best song of all time.
And how many sporting events and weddings have we attended that didn't include Cotton Eye Joe?
Right?
And it takes on a life of its own because all those things that are now 30 years old, the kids are just discovering them. So they have a whole new life on TikTok and on social media. Because of the kids, hey, look at this hilarious song I found. And it's Cotton Eye Joe by Rednecks. But, this was like when people were still on fan forums, kind of in the early days of the internet. So it was like people talking about the X-Files or all that stuff. But a lot of great records came out. That Super Unknown by Soundgarden, one of my favorite all-time records. Beck's Mellow Gold. Ill Communication came out. The first Weezer record came out in 94.
The Blue Album.
Yeah.
Great.
Dookie came out. That was kind of that next wave, that next punk resurgence wave, too.
Yep.
R.E.M. put Monster out. Downward Spiral. Portishead Dummy. Great record. Throwing Copper from Live. It goes on and on and on. Madonna's Bedtime Stories.
Ooh, so sexy. So sexy.
Diggable Planets, if anybody remembers them. Remember Diggable Planets?
Oh, I do.
Oh, yeah. So, 1994. But Steve Albini, who had his fingerprints on that whole era, died of a heart attack either last night or today. And he was only 61 years old. I don't think he had kids, but he'd been married to a local Chicago artist for many, many years. And I don't know what will happen to his recording studio. He'll probably go to whoever's next in line. I don't know how that all works out. Alan, I think people forget a bear can run 30 miles an hour, but it also depends on the kind of bear. Some bears will just run away from you.
That's what I mean.
Well, some men will just run away from you, too.
Yeah, but also, I don't know. I can't discern one kind of bear from another. I don't go, that one will just walk away. I know that kind. I don't know. But Bill's right. Some guys will walk away, too. Because they don't want to get rejected. Mm-hmm. They can't handle it.
I read somewhere that their periods attract bears. The bears can smell the menstruation.
Well, that's just great, Ed.
A man can be fought off or you can run away. You have no chance with a bear.
I'm just going by statistics here.
Yeah.
In my gut.
Well, then you have to look at the statistics from interactions, not from how often, how close are you to the bear, or is it just within the vicinity?
You're just in the forest. That's
in the forest, and there's a bear.
It doesn't say you're face to face. It doesn't say
Well,
you're
you've
even
been in the
gonna
forest. Every time you've been in the forest, there's probably been a man around in some vicinity.
But not just you
and you're not
one
dead.
Man. And I've also never been in a forest alone with just one man. That's never happened. I've been on a trail.
You know what we should do?
You
with
don't
hundreds
know
of
that.
people.
You know what we should do to make this even and to get another perspective? They should ask, whatever the sample size was of that group, they should ask a bunch of guys, would you rather be in the woods with a bear or a woman?
Oh, my gosh.
No, that's a bit I did last night. And I did a bit like that at Brothers Slack last night. I just looked at a girl in the front row and I go, and I'm choosing woman.
Mm-hmm. Over bear.
So gross.
He's a heterosexual man, Mary. Why is that gross?
I'm doing it in a dangerous way, not. Yeah, that's the
creepy.
Bit. That's why you're all choosing bear. So I'm confirming your answer.
Thank you for that.
Yeah,
Thanks for helping us
idiot.
seem more validated. Appreciate it.
Devotion to accuracy.
I'm on your
Jurassic
side.
Park was June of '93. People are saying.
Okay, all right.
There you go. Well, I bet it was still in theaters in '94, but a year later that thing was still in theaters.
Just like the dollar theater. Oh, I miss the dollar theaters.
The dollar. I got to take a break here. Want to send me a text for anything, 35192. Want to listen on the iHeartRadio app. You can do it there. You can watch live if you like at alancoxshow.com.
Sun's out, buns out. And just like that, backyard barbecue season has arrived. Let the Buzzard, Circle K, and Bud Light transform your normal wiener fest into the ultimate backyard barbecue. We'll bring the food, the drinks, some games, and a bunch of swag. Hell, we'll even bring a guest host.
Party Charlie's coming to your backyard. Let's rage.
Just get to WMMS.com to win. And don't forget to join Circle K's Inner Circle for free, and you'll save 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups and 5 free drinks. It's the ultimate backyard barbecue from 100.7 WMMS.